Hello, my name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Education and Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to take a look at sum of difference formulas for tangent. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you guys know, tangent is a little bit different from sine and cosine in that it's the ratio of sine to cosine. So tangent, if you will, is going to equal sine over cosine, like that. And so because of this particular characteristic of tangent, the actual formula for the sum or the difference formula is going to be a little bit different. And so again, the reason, just in case you haven't seen the last prior videos, the reason we have these different sum and difference formulas for sine, cosine, and tangent is so that we can find the exact value of a particular angle or whatever that we want to know. Because when you look at the unit circle normally contains just the special angles, and these are angles that are easy to calculate. And by using different combinations of the special angles, we can calculate the exact value of any other angle, for the most part. And so that's just a recap of things we've talked about in the past. So the formula that we're going to use here is going to be tangent, and of course it's going to be a plus b, or alpha plus beta, however you want to look at it, where alpha and beta are special angles that are found in a unit circle, a generic unit circle, and it's going to equal, this is where it gets kind of complicated, tan of A plus tan of beta, all this over 1 minus tan of alpha times tan of beta, like so. Now this is for the sum one. If we're doing difference, we will have a minus sign here, and then we will have a minus sign here, and then we will have a plus sign here. So it really depends on the context. All right, and so that's kind of how we're doing it. Now, how do you determine if you're going to do a sum or a difference? Well, it depends on the value you're trying to determine. Sometimes it's easier to add special angles together to get a certain angle that you want. Sometimes it's easier to subtract. It depends on the situation. And so, having said that, let's go to our actual problem. Now, this is what we're going to be wrestling with. We're going to be wrestling with tan, and we're not going to be using the degrees because remember, tangent is a ratio, so we're going to be using radians. We're looking for the exact value of 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 4. This is what we're going to be wrestling with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just plug this into our formula like so. So this is going to be tan of 2 pi over 3 because that's our alpha term right there. Let me close that out. And so since we have plus here, we're going to have plus also on the inside. So plus tan of pi over 4, like so. And all this is going to be divided by, and also I need to mention that pi over 4 is the beta term, if you will. It's going to be 1 minus tan 2 pi over 3, all that multiplied by tan pi over 4, close out the parentheses like that. So that's what we have. Now, the next thing we have to do to figure this out is we need to figure out exactly what the tan of 2 pi over 3 is. We have to calculate that. So we're going to do that next for tan 2 pi over 3 and also tan pi over 4. So tan 2 pi over 3. Well, if you looked it up on the unit circle, you'll find out that the coordinates are, the sine is going to be square root of 3 over 2, and the cosine is going to be 2 over 1, or excuse me, negative 1 over 2. So this is what we get here. So this is what it's going to be: square root of 3 over 2, and we're going to divide by, because remember, this is a ratio. Tangent is a ratio of sine over cosine. And so these are the unit circle values on the unit circle. All right. Now, as you guys know from learning about dividing fractions in the past, if you want to divide fractions, you look for the reciprocal of the second term, and you're ready to go. So this is going to literally equal square root of 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1, which is going to equal essentially, let's see here, negative 2 square root of 3 over 2, and I'm running out of space here, and so that's going to equal, if you look real close, it's going to equal negative square root of 3. That's our answer for 2 pi over 3. So the tangent of 2 pi over 3 is square root a negative square root 3, like that. So basically like negative 1 times the square root of 3 if you want to be more particular about it. Now for the tangent of pi over 4, it's a little much easier, but I'm going to go through all the steps anyway. So the cosine and the sine value are the same in this particular instance. So we got square root of 2 over 2, and you can verify this on your own time. Square root of 2 over 2. So again, I mean, that's already 1. But just to be clear, and just so that I don't lose people who are not comfortable with this, I'm going to go through all the steps. So the square root of 2 over 2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2, that can also equal, because we flipped the second term, square root of 2 over 2 multiplied by 2 over the square root of 2, that equals 2 times the square root of 2 over 2 times the square root of 2, and that of course will equal 1. So that's our answer there. And also I forgot to put, this is our answer for this guy right here. And so these are our two values. So now what we do is this. We take this negative square root of 3 and this 1, and we plug them into this formula right here. And so we'll do that on the next page. So let's move on. So here's what we got now. We got, looks like negative square root of 3 plus 1, because this is my tangent for 2 pi over 3, and this is my tangent of pi over 4. All right, nothing radical here. And that's going to be over 1 minus, inside parentheses, negative square root over 3, close it out, parentheses 1. Okay, this is all that we have. This is just what we did. We calculated this before on the previous screen. All we're doing now is plugging it into the actual formula. So now we can simplify this. I don't really need this 1 here. So essentially what I have, and if I'm just kind of in this right here, if I really wanted to, is I have 1 minus the square root of 3. I just moved this guy over here. I hope that's not too confusing. And this guy, he's worth nothing. All right, seriously, he's worth nothing. And so then I have now 1 minus the square root of 3. And of course, I'm sure you're familiar with how that simplifies, because we're about to wrap this up right here. So the numerator stays the same. I already fixed that. And when you have these two minus signs in a row, you have 1 plus the square root of 3. And this is our final answer. So this is the tangent of 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 4. So you can see a lot of steps, but nothing that advanced. Just got to know some basic ideas on how to combine the different steps that you need to achieve what you want. So let me go back and review what we talked about and conclude the video. So in this video, we learned about the sum and the difference formula for tangent. And tangent is unique in that it is a ratio of sine to cosine. So the steps are slightly different. You can see here in the middle of the screen, here's the actual formula. I hope you can read that. So tangent of alpha plus beta is going to equal tangent of alpha plus tangent of beta over 1 minus tangent of alpha times tangent of beta. Okay, and so on this screen, we actually had an actual example here. We took the values 2 pi over 3 plus pi over 4, and then we plugged them into the actual formula. But then we had to do a unique step here in that we had to try to figure out, okay, what is tangent of 2 pi over 3? And we calculated that as negative square root of 3. And then for tangent of pi over 4, we calculated it right here. You can look at the steps on your own time. And then we just plugged in the numbers accordingly, and we got the answer here: 1 minus square root of 3 over 1 plus square root over 3. Square root of 3, excuse me. So I hope that this was useful for you and you were able to understand it. My name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Take care.